Hey, what is happening, gamers? Drop here, and I want to talk about my honest opinions about Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. I got to play the alpha back in December of last year, and basically I couldn't talk about it until they lifted the NDA, which I didn't know if they were going to at the time. So what happened was, me and my buddy we were looking forward to this game. We heard about this game being announced back in 2022. So we kept an eye on it, kept updates and all that shit, and signed up for it, signed the NDA. Couldn't talk about the gameplay. We couldn't show gameplay. Couldn't show screenshots. Couldn't show nothing. And now we're finally here. I know the NDA was lifted a couple weeks ago, but I've been busy. As you can see, I'm not where I usually would be recording. I moved my recording setup up there upstairs. My room up there is not set up yet, so I'm currently in my bed recording. But back to the video. My honest thoughts about Suicide Squad so far I enjoyed it. And I'm going to list a couple of things of why I enjoyed it. I'm going to name a couple of things. So you guys, if you want to watch this and give the game a try when it comes out, you're free to do it, or free to do whatever the fuck you want to. First, I'm going to start off with gameplay. Gameplay, when we watched the game, it was amazing. We were hyped for it. Well, for me and my buddy, we were hyped for it. Other people probably not so much because they don't give a shit about this game. But for me, gameplay is one of those things. When I play a game, if it doesn't meet my expectations and it doesn't run it the way I want it to, then I don't play it. It's one of those things, I let it sit in a shelf and just collect cobwebs and I'm done with it. But this game is one of those games where it knocked gameplay out of the fucking ballpark. I didn't have an issue with FPS laws. I didn't have an issue with none of that shit. It played phenomenal. And when I went into this, I told myself to go in with low expectations. Don't go in there with high shit, because I could, eventually probably be one of those people that's out there right now currently dog shitting about this game. Not want to play it nor waste a couple $100 or $70 at tops. Gameplay wise, it ran smooth. I had no issues with it. I didn't complain. And characters, I really didn't get to play that much with any of them except for Deadshot. My boy played King Shark. He can give his opinion if he makes a video on it, which I don't think he will anytime soon. But for the most part, gameplay, it was smooth. It was very fluent. It the way Metropolis looked too, I will say, it looked fucking phenomenal. It's nice to be set into a whole other area of the DC universe, where Clark Kent, Superman, this is his home. It was fun. I will say there was only certain areas of Metropolis we could explore from what I remember, because there's like a barrier. It would just like throw us back and tell us we couldn't go that way from what I remember. I'm not too sure, but I know a couple times when I went out of bounds, it would just it would turn my camera in reverse and just send me back the other way. But gameplay wise, it met expectations. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Okay, let's talk about characters. Characters, you have King Shark, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, and Harley Quinn. Now, keep in mind with all these characters, there's different playstyles to them. You can explore, you can figure out what type of playstyle you want for them, what build you want to make them. For me, I was basically one of those that sat back and just snipe, shot, helped the team out, and etc. For Deadshot, I will say that if you do play him, watch how much jetpack fuel you use, because there's a bar that will pop up at the very bottom of your screen and it'll just slowly start depleting. So if you're not careful about that, if you're above where the fight is, you're going to get killed instantly. Because that happened to me a few times during the alpha test that I got to play. Now, I will say we didn't get to play too much of it. We only got to play, I think, maybe a few sections. And from what I remember, how it started us was we had to do, I think, a few raids. We had to take down a few raids, and I will say that if you love the Arkham series, then you will love a certain section of this game so far. Me and my buddy, we got to a section where it was basically the museum where all the shit happened in Arkham Asylum City night, and explained all of it with Jack Ryder talking over an audio dialogue. Batman in that section, he picks off your squad one by one, and then let me tell you, and not seeing it from his POV, but seeing it from the villain's POV, that shit was terrifying. That shit jump scared the living shit out of me. I will say there's different cutscenes for each character you play. I will say that much, because my buddy, I saw a video online of that section of the different characters and shit, and let me tell you, that shit is terrifying. Traversal wise, I enjoyed it. There's been a lot of complaints of Harley Quinn saying she's too slow because she uses Batman's glider and his grappling hook. That they're like, oh, it's too slow. We shouldn't be swinging this fast. And honestly, it's a happy medium. From what I've seen, everyone talking about Harley Quinn, they made it the way they wanted to, because they said when they tested it, if you joined their Discord server, they explained why they made it the way they did. They said that they had set it too fast and it kept breaking the game. There's just no way they could set it. It just kept breaking their fucking game, no matter what they did. So they just set it to where they wanted it. Traversal wise, Deadshot was probably one of my funnest, favorite to use traversal wise, because I didn't get to play with anybody else. So, but when the game does drop, I probably will experiment with King Shark, Harley Quinn, and Boomerang. His weapons are pretty fucking cool. I will say that, to be the least. Like, each weapon you pick up for each character, it will add attachments to them, and it will change the way the default weapon looks. So that was a pretty cool little neat attention to detail to notice. Story element, I will say that I think Rocksteady has got the story laid out the way they wanted to. Because when we played the alpha test, it was very well polished, even though it was just an alpha test, testing the game to see what it was running, see how it was. I will say the story-wise, though, I think it's fine, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. Story-wise, it was just, I don't know. I don't know how to really explain it, because I really haven't got to play too much of the game besides what the sections we did get to play, me and my buddy. All I can say is it was pretty cool to see how they had it laid out from where you start from the beginning to halfway where they stop you. It's cool because it's one of those things, it's like, okay, if you want to see more, you're going to have to buy the game. And I bought the game. I pre-ordered already. I got the deluxe edition, which we will get to play it here in 3 days, I think. So, voice actors, they were pretty good. I will say that for the most part. And I can't really say there's any cringy lines that, like Gotham Knights had a bunch of cringy lines and it just didn't feel right. This game, it's funny, like little fun moments and shit, but there's no reason to nitpick and shit like that. Every game has a little fun moment and shit with the characters and dialogue. But I will say, for the most part, the game is pretty solid. And we're gonna be getting new content March after the game launches in February. And I do think Rocksteady knows what they're doing. This is this might not be the Arkham game that we wanted, but this is the Arkham game they wanted to make. This is the game they wanted to make and push out there to people. I will say that this game, it's like a balance board. There's people that like it, and there's people that's like, it's not gonna do good. It's in the Arkham game, and they're bringing back characters that made no fucking sense. But my thoughts about it is, developers, they ought to be able to explore and do what they want to do with their game. They put a lot of time, a lot of money into this, and a lot of effort. Let them do what they want to. Let them experiment. Let them cook. Let them try different things. There's a lot of developers out there that's scared to try different things than what they were used to before with their games in the past. And I will say, with the alpha test, I was impressed. The alpha test kind of threw me back and took my low expectations to the high expectations, and it's me what I wanted the game to be. I will say that I will be playing it, probably not on the channel, don't know yet. But the game was fun. It was very, very fun. And cosmetics, you won't have to pay. You'll have to pay for those. Battle Pass, if you want them, you have to pay them for them. They're not forcing you. It's just one of those things. If you want it, get it. If you don't, then don't. But I'm trying to think of what else I can talk about that I did get to experiment with. They also have abilities, and I can't remember what Deadshot's was, but basically he jumps up in the air and he uses his gauntlets on his wrist and shit, and he just sends a bunch of bullets flying. I will say I did have fun using that because, I don't know, it's very powerful. There's a skill tree and shit too. That I forgot to talk about that. There's a big ass skill tree. There's 3 of them. You can either choose which one you want to go down with that build that you're on, or you can choose a different one. I think you can deselect them and then select another one if you don't want to use that one. I can't remember because it's been since last year, December, when I got to play at the first start of the month of December. There's a skill tree. There's a couple of things that I did notice that felt very much like Borderlands, but in their way, Rocksteady made it the way they wanted to. So far, my opinions and thoughts is positive. I'm not negative. usually I'm really negative on games. Like usually there's games that people around me they like, and I'll look at them like, it's just not my game. This game is one of those where it's like, it's my game. I like it. It's in the Arkham. It's got characters I like, so I'm gonna try it. But so far, I will say the game it's probably gonna have a lot of people shitting on it when it post launches and shit, and there's gonna be a lot of people that like it. So I'm not gonna say the bad's gonna outweigh the good, but this game has a standing chance. It's fun in my opinion. King Greek, shout out to you, my boy. I've been watching you a lot. He's one of those I've been watching about the game, seeing his opinions. I like to see other people's thoughts and opinions about the game because it's like I can kind of base what they saw and what I saw and combine it together in one little thing and just go, okay, they thought the same thing I thought about the game. There's a lot of people that shit on this game that didn't even play the alpha test. They've watched probably clips of the game and they're like, it's shit. It's not Arkham. This is the game they wanted to make. This is the game I want to play. Shooter games are not bad. I grew up with shooter games. Looter shooters especially. I grew up with this shit. So this is nothing new for me. I mean, I'm going to be playing it regardless of whatever anybody says. It's fun. I enjoyed it. But if you want to try it, only advice I can give you is buy the game, try it for yourself, don't go off other people's opinions. And that's going to be the end of this. I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Peace.